dialogue was more influenced by a number of shutdowns that we have experienced in the region. More especially in Africa, most of the countries experience a shutdown of internet. And for us, shutdown of internet is not only about the government, it affects individuals, even the tourists who are visiting your country. The minute you have created a shutdown, it automatically says nobody can communicate to that particular person. And the latest one that we have experienced is just from our next door in Zimbabwe. The shutdown that happened during the time of the elections, it affected many people who were in Zimbabwe, and more especially South Africa is doing a lot of business in Zimbabwe, and that was uncalled for. And on those bases, we realized that the access to internet, it's not there. You know, it depends on the players in the industry. Even most of the players, they've been told by the politicians in terms of switching down the internet, and the connectivity becomes an issue for us. That's why we needed this dialogue, so that the civil society, the players in the industry, the government can sit around the table and have this particular dialogue, wherein the government will be able to tell us what is it that influenced them to cut down the internet during that particular time. We understand that maybe it's because they don't want information to get out of the country, but we wanted them to discuss with us so that we can come up with strategies together. We can also help them, how do we prevent such information going out? But also the effect that it has on the role players. The role players, they also have an effect in terms of this, because they are not happy. We have some articles where the role players were saying we have lost a lot of money during the shutdown of internet. And we wanted them also to say their piece, you know, so that we can all talk about this particular issue. That's why we needed everyone around the table. But of course, with us, we have more of role in terms of the civil society. That's why we had to invite majority of the civil society from all the African countries. We have 20 countries here, and most of them, they are SADC countries, because it's a Southern Africa conference. But then we realized that we can learn from West, Central, and East Africa. That's why we invited some of those NGOs that have experienced that, some of those stakeholders who have experienced that, to say to them, come and share with us. If you have ever experienced something like this, how did you deal with it? Or is there any strategies that is in place that you can lend to us so that we can also discuss and see if it will work for us?
I think where we need to go actually is to first start accepting that we're not doing well. If you are going to get people who will be denying and saying that no, our country this, our country is better, that because if you have a report that's coming from the ITU, that source is good, it's authentic enough. Yes, it might be a little bit a year behind the system, but that's the latest report. So I think we first start to accept and understanding that we really are doing bad as the continent, not just as a country, as a continent. So once you start accepting that you are not doing well as a country as far as internet access is concerned, so therefore, we will be looking for solutions. Because if you don't look for the solutions, you're never going to look for solutions if you are, what's the term? If you are in denial that you have a problem. So we need to accept that we have a problem as the continent as well, as you could see from the stats that I showed you, that as the continent we're not doing good at all. If we are seated right now in 2018 at half what the developed countries were in 2005, then it shows that we're not doing right. So again, the second thing, I spoke about the costs. Our governments need to look at, in the costs of the ICT. Here, starting from your data costs, your broadband, your this and that and that. Because if we cannot afford to buy that, so how are we going to be getting onto the internet? And again, if we're talking about now internet being a basic right and a basic necessity, in this fourth industrial revolution era, and 5G with other people now who are talking there. So therefore, we need to accept and start from accepting that we are not doing good, and then somehow get our governments to start talking as the continent, the whole, all 54, 55 states. We need to be talking with one voice.
as I was saying earlier, that the conversation that will come from this platform are necessary, in that the NGO sector has been hamstrung when it comes to ICT issues. We're not relevant, we're not compliant, we don't understand, we're not ready. So a platform like this created, it will ensure that members from the NGO sector, as well as the broader civil society bodies that are here, they can come up with some strategies so that we could help one another. Because the issue of ICT is a very, very essential tool, in that if you want to propagate a message to whoever, be it government, be it private sector, be it your members, be it community, ICT could be used into that platform. So out of the conversation today, out of the engagement, out of the dialogue, people will come up. And it's good because people are coming from different countries. I'm from South Africa. Others are coming from Nigeria, Uganda. So we will share some best perspectives and experience of how are they doing things in their country to effect communication to members, ordinary members.
For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za, subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on our social mediums.